What's going on, everyone? Matthew here on the channel, and we're back with another mini review today. I'm, of course, joined by my wonderful co-host and best friend.
Callum.
Hey, man. So today we're doing a bit of an uncharacteristic film for us. It's used in the last couple of months. A lot of our content's been comic book movies, but today we're going back with a bit of a different genre. It's of course House of Gucci and the new Lady Gaga film. So I'll pass over to Cam to explain what this film is about because it's a bit of a biographical film, but it's got a pretty huge cast, a lot of big names in there. So I was pretty excited to watch it. So I'll pass over to you, mate.
So this film is the love story, at least initially, of the grandson of the founder of the fashion company Gucci, and this woman named Maritza. No, what's her name? Patrizia. Uh, I'm not gonna remember a lot about this. Once again, I'd come home from work and was quite tired, and I think we can both agree that this film is incredibly long. So we
Yes.
may miss bits and pieces along the way, but really it's about the rise of the company under their leadership and the drama and scandal following the breakup of the family under their rule. I
It's
don't want to give too much away, but it is a biographical film.
it's Gucci Godfather, isn't it? Is what it is. It's
Yeah,
got that similar vibe to it, that businessman energy with sort of some criminal activity under there as well. So yeah, it's a peculiar film, but I quite enjoy it. Extremely long, but enjoyable. Just before we kick off today's episode, thank you very much for everyone who supported us recently. That means a lot to both of us. Hopefully there'll be loads of other content coming over the Christmas period. Of course, our No Way Home review. I know we're both excited. We mention that every episode, but we're so excited for it. Honestly. But yeah, I don't know how did you, if you wanted to break it down spoiler free and spoilers, man. What were your notes like?
I mean that's how I put it, but I feel like everybody that's going to listen to this review has probably seen it. But I only have one spoiler comment, and it's right at the very end.
Yeah, I feel
So if
yeah
you're okay with that.
yeah I feel like as well that because this is based on true events. A lot of people probably went to research the history beforehand, like I did, or maybe knew about it already. I'm not too sure. The first thing
Yeah,
I
if
would
you watch Graham Norton with that bastard spoiling it.
yeah, I know, right? The first thing I wanted to mention, of course, Lady Gaga. This is very much her film, isn't it? She's on a roll with Stars Born in this. I think she's really, really good. To not be traditionally from an acting background, as far as I'm aware, I think her background is generally music. She can act, can she? She's fantastic.
Yeah, really the only reason I'm seeing this movie is because my brother is such a huge fan of Lady Gaga, and he sort of pushed it into my sort of, you know, cultural periphery. If he hadn't sort of pushed me to see it, I probably wouldn't have seen A Star Is Born, because I'm not a huge fan of musicals, even though it didn't really turn out to be one. It's just a drama with some music in it. And then this film, one, I don't normally see biographical films, and two, I don't really see this kind of film, at least in the cinema. We've talked a lot about, crime films or, decades sweeping epics, the likes of The Godfather or Boogie Nights or Goodfellas. And I would say this is probably the most similar to Goodfellas, where it starts with a significant moment within the film, and then, it also spans this decades period of, this sort of slow breakdown of an empire. That's sort of how I see it. And I'm really happy I saw it. I'm pleased that we're sort of opening ourselves up and broadening our horizons in terms of what we choose to see in the cinema. And I think we'll probably see more of that next year.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think the time jumps in the film can make it a little bit confusing as to what
Mm.
takes place where, and specifically the ending. We'll talk about in spoilers, but overall, I had a really good time with this. I think the performances are really, really strong as well. Jared Leto is not an actor I'd particularly be a big fan of. I don't dislike the guy, but he's not my favorite. But I think he really stole the show here. He's got this extravagant character, who isn't really appreciated by his family. He's considered a bit of an odd individual, but I
Bit of a
think
goof.
yeah, a bit of a goof, and I think he's absolutely fantastic here with that Adam Driver. I mean, next James Bond, please. He's that good. This is potentially like the most stylish film ever. I think, not in terms of the brand Gucci, of course that makes sense, but even the way it's shot, it's beautiful on the eye, and I'm a big Adam Driver fan actually. So this has just made me want to go and check out more of his filmography.
Yeah, I obviously loved him in Marriage Story, and he gave that really raw performance in that scene where he punches the wall. But I would say this is probably my favorite performance of his because he sort of has to go between these two personas of this kind of, you know, lovable goose kind of, dumb dork. Uh, you know, despite him like training as a lawyer, he kind of seems like, he's maybe not really fully, fully aware of what's going on most of the time. And then he sort of turns into this kind of piece of shit. Well, he sort of
I
has,
find that really
a bit,
fascinating. Yeah,
a
definitely.
bit of back and forth. Maybe we are talking too many spoilers. I would say mild spoilers peppered throughout, and then the big spoilers at the end. Uh, within this film, I would say on paper it has one of the best soundtracks ever put to film. But in practice, it seems very shoehorned, and it just seems like they had a huge budget to blow, and they just thought, "Fuck it, we have this many $1 million left. Let's get the rights to you know like three iconic songs that sound the same, but have good name recognition."
Yeah, I thought the same. I think the great music choices, although fantastic, they must have cost an absolute fortune. And with that, I'm surprised they didn't have Gaga do a big song for this to help market the film. Not necessarily that you have to do that if you have a singer turned actress appear in your film, but I think it would have made absolute sense. I mean, I think Lady Gaga's got like her presence in this film, like it's so natural, like it comes so easily to her, and I think her accent work is equally as good. Um, I think this film though, I think it'll struggle to find an audience just in the fact that I can't really tell what genre it's supposed to fit into. Is it this drama film? But but it's hard to find a tone to it because it's quite humorous in some places. Obviously um with Adam Driver's character, he is this bit of a dork, a bit of an incompetent dork sometimes, but at the same time, a lot of these characters could be quite evil and vindictive at points. So I'm not too sure. Although it is based on true events, I can't comment on how real that is because obviously I'm not a historian and I don't know much about it. But I just feel like the tone of the film is quite confusing, and I'm not sure what particular audience it wants to pertain to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think along those lines of what kind of film is this? What tone does it have? I know a lot of people are saying that it's tonally inconsistent. I think it has a consistent tone, but that it doesn't find itself almost. I think every part of it is consistently the same uh balance of trying to do like goofy and serious, trying to be the Godfather whilst being you know Jared Leto's having a good fun time. I think every scene is that rather than scene to scene, a disparity from scene to scene. uh but I do think definitely there is too much business and not enough scandal, because it is sort of pitched as this you know scandalous kind of what goes on behind closed doors kind of thing. uh but it was really more just, let's have this chat in this boardroom and then this chat in this boardroom.
Yeah.
uh do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I agree. I feel that the film kind of lost its pacing at the two-thirds point. Um, there's a mild spoilers. There's a scene where like the characters go skiing. It's in the trailers. And I just feel like that scene specifically, that the film, it feels like it's going to go down one direction and then it completely switches up. So I think in that point, yeah, there is a lot of scenes in there where I think could have been cut out because the film is exceptionally long. Not that it's 3 hours or anything, but it felt that it did feel a lot longer than what the 2.5 that it was. And we came in as the film started, like what I mean. Dear knows how long it would have
Yeah,
felt
I
with all the
I think
logos
we
and trailers.
genuinely caught the second after the logos had disappeared. Like we were worried that we were going to be late to the film, which is something we usually don't actually like. That's usually not an issue that we have because we take it very seriously. But we did miss like the first 10 minutes of Sonic the Hedgehog, and then we missed, I reckon, 1 second of this film. So it's sort of the closest cut that we've come to it, because I normally do hate people coming in late. That's normally because they bring in a lot of light. But the place that we went to see this actually already is quite bright as you're watching the film, so I don't think it actually caused any level of disturbance. But But yeah, normally, as soon as the film's over, I'll turn to Matthew, and before I can even ask him, he'll say, "Loved that," or "Oh, wasn't for me." But immediately his reaction was, "That was long, that was so long," and I was like, "But was it good?" And you were like, "Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was long though."
It was good. I do enjoy it. Like I think could it have been better if it was shorter? Probably, but that being said, there's still a lot of great lines in here, and it's mostly the actors that I feel really carry it. It doesn't have big names for the sake of it. Like I think this film, Al Pacino would have come across as a really on the nose casting, but he's still really good. Obviously he's Al Pacino, of
Jeremy
course.
Irons, I think, delivers his worst performance of his career
You
that
think
I've seen.
so? I didn't think he was that bad, but maybe his accent wasn't
What
as
accent
good.
is he doing?
Yeah, maybe that. I mean, I think all the characters have that kind of they sound like themselves, but with an Italian accent, really. Um, that comment probably doesn't really make sense to many people. But if you watch the film and see Jeremy Irons, like he just sounds like Alfred and Batman vs Superman, but speaking Italian. Like that's what it sounds like to me. Um, I thought he was pretty good. I mean, there's actors in here where like Salma Hayek doesn't have a lot to do here, but I still think she's very good. Similar with Jeremy Irons, but um, I don't know. I think it's one of the few times where the film's cast really is like the shining point rather than the plot specifically. Because I think because all these actors that we know and are so likable, generally, like it made me like the film because of that, really.
Yeah. So, did you have any further non-spoiler thoughts on this film?
No, mate, not no non-spoilers. If you want to hop into major spoilers, let's do it.
Did you want to first ask the question that all the viewers are hoping to hear the answer to? Matthew, Jess, I mean Matthew.
People know that's my surname. It's on the
Matthew,
channel.
surname
Diagnostics.
redacted. Was was this film for you a massive hit or a piece of shit?
Oh, it's a massive hit. I think it's a massive hit. We've mentioned it's long, the pacing's not great, and there's a lot of scenes that could have been taken out. But I really enjoy Lady Gaga's performance. I think her and Adam Driver have a great chemistry, and I really like the character development here, or kind of the character sort of devolution from these likable characters to really unlikable characters, specifically Adam Driver's Maurizio. So I think there's a lot to be enjoyed here with the character stuff. So I would say it's a massive hit. Yeah. What about you, mate?
So yeah, I'd have to agree that it is a massive hit. There's so much more about it that's redeemable than not. Uh, I think it is a little bit too long. Maybe we didn't need the 2 minute long scene of Jared Leto trying to find a car in a car park. Uh, and I think we maybe needed a little more of the devolution of as you said, like the company and the relationship. I think my brother wanted to see Lady Gaga. you know I think the moment that sort of got a lot of attention in the trailer was was Patrizia saying, I don't consider myself a very ethical person. I think a lot of people wanted to see a bit more of time spent on the transition from her as like that sweet,
Yes. Yeah.
sweet. She's still like a gold digger at the beginning, but she does have genuine affection for Maurizio, and I think more time spent on that transition between the two personas maybe would have gone appreciated.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. I'd like to see a bit more of that myself. Um, into spoilers, of
I
course,
mean, I feel like we've done a few already.
we have, but as you said, people who are watching this, either they do
To be
are
fair, like what like obviously we've given a spoiler warning, but like how else do you say the plot of this film? Like surely it is you
yeah,
know
yeah,
this couple gets into a marriage that then slowly dissolves over time, and the company starts breaking down. But the big notable spoiler, if you don't know the history of the thing, I would say it's not a spoiler to say that their marriage devolves over the course of the film, because that is just the film, like that is the plot. But the end is his death, which I think you shouldn't expect audiences to know. So like when I heard that on Graham Norton, I was like, well, for fuck's sake. I was a bit upset, because it happens genuinely within the last 10 minutes of the film. So it is the ending of the film. So it's not like, I think once you know that, you know how everything else is going to play out. That it's that because she has ordered a hit on him, that their marriage is going to end. So everything else that you would be worried about spoiling is now implicit.
Yeah, and with that, I felt like his death does come as a surprise. Generally, if you don't know if you don't know the history of the case, it does come up quite a surprise. Like you said, they leave it to the last 5 minutes of the film, and there's a character, Salma Hayek plays a character called Pina, and throughout the film she is kind of this like agony aunt for Lady Gaga's character. I've forgotten the name of.
Patricia.
Yeah, Patricia. She's like there to give her advice and stuff, and um but then at the end, she's like, "Yeah, I've got a solution, but you have to be sure." And then she ends up knowing these two hitmen. So I think that was really, really surprising. And it's not as if I can criticize the film for that, because that is generally how it went in real life, as far as I was concerned. So it's naturally that's going to be unexpected. But I feel like, especially Maurizio, he starts off as this really likable sort of silly goose, but then by the end, he's quite he's not horrible, but he's certainly a bit more callous. He's got a bit more of a cutting edge to him.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, they sort of play up more that his relationship uh with I believe her name is
Oh, the
uh,
woman you have an affair with, you mean?
yeah, is it not like is it like Paula or something?
Yeah, let's go
Uh,
with that.
I'll have to look it up. But I think in real life it was less of an affair and more of the marriage was over before that started. But here it is more like he's going around his wife's back, and then like it's after the affair starts that she's told that the marriage is over. So from what I understand, I mean I read about it online after we saw the film. But they're sort of I guess maybe that's why they had difficulty pinning down a timeline in this film. Like the description of the events that I read was a bit muddled as well, but from what I understand that wasn't the precise timeline of it, and that was maybe you know fooled around with for the sake of dramatization.
Yeah, that would make sense, I guess. There's
But do you think that this would be a better film if the murder happened halfway through the film and then the second half was her trying to get away with it?
no, I quite like the way they did it in this film. I just would have liked to see more of her vindictive side and her vengeance. You know what I mean? You kind of like I want her to like not give a shit about killing her husband, but by the end, like you do get the sense that the film still wants you to feel sympathy with the character when she's crying at his doorstep saying like, "Will you take me back?" Like I want her to fucking like be vengeful and vindictive. I really wanted to see more of that compared to the sort of redeemable side of her character. But it's hard to say whether the film would have been more interesting with her trying to get away with it. I'm glad the film doesn't spend too much time bogged down in all the court case stuff afterwards. It's very much a montage at the end there, isn't it? Thank God for that, because that could have been an excuse for Ridley Scott to make the film 3 hours long, didn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking surely this can't, because I was like, it's definitely been 2.5 hours now.
Mhm.
Surely it can't end in like 1 minute because she hasn't even been caught, and surely you need to have her try to get away with it, get caught, and then get tried. But it's literally he dies 1 minute later, she's in his house 1 minute later, uh, the movie's over. It is kind of quite breakneck
It
in the
is,
in the
yeah.
pace of it, which is very jarring, seeming as everything else was quite long and played
Yeah,
out throughout the film.
100%, 100%. Like it is very breakneck, as you said. Um, I'm surprised they took that turn. Actually, they allude to the opening shot, and then at the end, it is that cyclical narrative, which I think is really smart. I do like that a lot. It is very good, fellas, isn't it? There's one particular line in this film I quite enjoyed, and it's one that I think will be memed quite a lot. It's when I think Patricia says to Maurizio, "Don't be such a cretin," which
Hmm.
I thought was quite humorous. I thought that was just like a Northern Irish like colloquial slang term. Like, I'm unaware that
I don't
that
know about that.
no, I mean it's definitely not. Sure, it's not because it's in this film. But yeah, I don't know. I always just associated that with here, like like Egypt is a an insulting term for a person. Like I don't know, cretin. I thought it was a really funny line though. I don't know, especially in the Italian accent. I liked it.
Yeah, I think that this will be appreciated more for its moments than for the
Oh
film
yeah,
itself.
there's some great quotes in there.
And I think a lot of Lady Gaga fans will really pick up and run with those. I mean, Father, Son, and House of Gucci was also one that I know was really picked out as significant.
That one I wasn't sure how I felt about in the trailers. Actually, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but in the film, I think it works. But in the trailers, not so much.
Yeah, especially because of who she's saying it to, which is Jared Leto's character. Like it kind of just if she was saying that to anyone else, I think you'd be like, why is this like earnest scene with this earnest character coming across like that? But because she was sort of trying to match the energy of Jared Leto's character, doing something goofy made sense.
Yeah, no, that's a smart point. That's a smart point. I don't have anything to say in spoilers anymore, mate.
Nothing else for me.
Well, that wraps up another review on the channel. Thanks for your time today, man, and thank you very much, viewers, for your time. If you want to check out our other review of Lady Gaga's films, I think we did A Star Is Born in our musicians episode. If I'm not mistaken, that was maybe episode 21. I think I don't know if that's right. I think it's something like that. But yeah, be sure to check
It was
that
our
out.
first one after the pandemic
That
break.
was our first lockdown episode, actually. Yeah, that'll be in the lockdown playlist. So I don't know why I keep adding the podcast to lockdown playlist, because we're not in lockdown anymore, but I just feel like this Zoom format is really, that's kind of our thing now, isn't it? Like we used to do it in your house or my house sometimes, but I feel like Zoom it's handier, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean the audio's hardly any worse than it was back in the day.
Yeah, I remember I think we got these new microphones. It must have been a couple Christmases ago, and what was the first episode we did with them? Maybe like Star Wars, something like that. At the
Yeah, I think so.
yeah, back then, so quite a long time ago. But yeah, I hope you guys are all well. Hope your family and friends are keeping safe and well too, guys. And yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye.